What's up, y'all? Thanks for tuning in. Today I want to talk about a basic slingshot concept, the fork width, and how it affects your shot. For this demonstration, I'm going to enlist the help of two of my more extremely sized frames. I've got in this hand the Imp from Wasp, a very small frame, and in this hand I've got the Basher from Down Under Catapults, quite a large frame. Before we start in the actual demo, I do want to do just a little bit of defining of terms. There's two basic parts to a slingshot. You've got your handle here and your forks up here. Now your forks have a few different measurements that you might see when you're buying something listed on the internet, for instance. One of those is fork tip. That's going to be the distance from here to here, and that will generally tell you how large of a band that a slingshot will accept. You've got your fork gap. That's the distance from here to here, or the sort of gap that you have to send your ball through when you make a shot. And you've got your fork width, and that is the distance all the way from one end of one fork to the other end of the other fork. And that is what we're going to talk about today. So let's just do a measurement here. This little Wasp Imp, if I put it all the way over, I don't actually know if you can see that, but you should probably be able to see that it's sitting right around, I think that's 7.5 centimeters or about 75 millimeters, whereas the Basher, if I set it down on the marker here, is right at 10.5 centimeters or 105 millimeters. And you can see just by putting them head to head that one of them has a much larger fork width than the other. Okay, also here to help me, I have got eyes and our ammo. And that ammo is pointed at a target, and that target is on a wall, and we're gonna call that, I don't know, for purposes of demonstration, 10 meters, or really it's whatever distance you shoot at. The point is, though, that we're not gonna move this target any closer or further from the shot. That's another slightly more advanced concept that maybe we'll cover in another video. And you can see where the ball is right now. We'll call that your anchor point. You can pretend like you're holding that on your cheek or your lip or your chin or your ear or wherever it is that your anchor point is. That's where the ball is sitting right now. Most importantly, it's that the distance between here and your eyes isn't going to change until we do for purposes of demonstration. So the way we've got it set up now, I'm going to show you this little Wasp Imp with the small fork width. And it's important to note that when you're shooting a slingshot, no matter the width of the forks or the gap of the frame that you're using, if you shoot a good shot, that ball is going to go straight in between the forks and in a straight line toward the target. So whether I'm shooting with this frame, whoops, there go my eyes, or this frame, right, the ball path doesn't change. It goes straight. Now, let's get my eyes back, if I can pick them up. All right, so I've got my Imp here. I've got it set up such that when the ball travels straight out of the frame, it's going to go down this line and ideally impact the target here. Now I'm going to use this ruler to represent the line of sight. And I'm going to show you that if you're looking, if you've got, from your eyes down the tip of that fork, look at that. We're looking at the target. the ball is going toward the target, and that right there is a good shot we're going to hit. But let's look at what changes if we switch frames, right? We're not going to change our anchor point. The ball's at the same place. We can't change where our eyes are. Those are fixed. I guess I did earlier, but that was an accident. We're just going to use a slightly, or actually a significantly larger frame. Remember, that ball is still going to go straight down this line and toward the target. But look at where we're looking. If this is our line of sight, we're looking way up here. The ball's going to travel down here, but we're looking at this point on the wall, which means the ball is going to impact significantly lower than where we're looking. Now, ideally, you can overcome that by simply looking above your target, aiming higher than the target. But more than likely, what's actually happening is you're going to be looking at your target. You think the target is here. Well, the target is here, and that's where you're looking. But your ball is going to go significantly lower. A wider fork width causes a low shot. Okay, now let's look at that in reverse, right? Now let's set up a shot for the larger fork width, and we can do this by simply lowering our anchor point. So maybe it was at your cheek before, and maybe you lower it to your lip or something like that, right? And remembering that the ball is going to travel in a straight line, we'll put our target here. So let's take a look. From our eyes, across the tip of that fork is going to roughly hit our target. It's not a perfect metaphor, so it's not exactly dead center, but I think it gets the point across. Okay, now changing absolutely nothing with the same anchor point, the same eyeballs, the same target, but bringing in our smaller frame. Okay, let's look at where we're looking. From our eyes across the tip of the fork tip of the slingshot, and we're now looking here. In other words, if we're looking here and that ball is traveling in a straight line, that ball is going to land above where we're looking. And in this case, in this setup, we're actually aiming below the target to account for that, so it will work. But more than likely what you're actually doing, more than likely what you're actually doing is looking at your target. And if you're looking at your target and this ball is traveling in a straight line, you're going to miss your shot high. So that's pretty much it. That's the demonstration. A smaller frame width or fork width will tend to shoot high, and a larger fork width will tend to shoot low relative to where you're looking. Before I leave here, I want to actually leave you guys with one more basic tip. I mentioned in the beginning of this video that I was using two extremes of frames from my collection, and I find it useful when trying to understand slingshot concepts to think of things in the extreme. So later on, when you're out in the field and you're shooting some and you're trying to remember this video and how things affect stuff and you can't quite remember exactly what I showed you on the mat right here, I want you to think about this. Pretend that your frame is actually 50 feet wide, okay? And you're holding it up and you're looking down the fork tip. Where are you looking? You're looking somewhere very, very high into the sky. You're looking at the clouds, even though the ball is going to travel straight through the middle of those tips and ideally hit your target. But you're looking at the sky because a very wide fork tip will tend to send the ball below where you're looking. And then from there, you can just extrapolate the opposite. If you were to shoot a very narrow fork width, the ball would go high. That's it for me, y'all. I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching. Bye.